Are you ready to find your voice, fulfill your purpose, build unstoppable confidence? And are you ready to learn how to trust, accept, and love yourself enough to do the work to create what you want in life? Oh, and do you want to learn how to do it without burning yourself out, sacrificing what matters most, or compromising on your values? Then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Crystal Stanton, a certified coach, human design enthusiast, entrepreneur, and podcast host on a mission to guide women into their true, authentic success, to help them recognize their power and to step out from the shadows and into the woman they were always meant to be. Around here, we don't do grey, unaligned versions of our life. We don't settle for what we should be happy with. Around here, we do big, bold, courageous, fulfilled, rich lives, and we do it in an aligned, nourished, and truly authentic way. If that sounds like the life you want, then stick around and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Fearless. So excited to be here again today, recording another incredible episode. It's almost Christmas. It's super hot. I'm sweating. And I'm kind of excited to record today's episode. I feel like I say that all the time. But also, I'm interested to see the response to this one. So I want to talk about something that I think a lot of people know about now and have some sense of understanding. I have a very small sense of it. Like I know what mine is. I haven't done any deep exploration into it. Manage N62. Not really here for the foundational knowledge and details. All my line ones, you probably know a lot more about this than I do. But I want to use a conversation with one of my clients that I have, just like the theme of the conversation, nothing specific, because I think it would be helpful for everybody as well. So we're going to talk about love languages today. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about love languages. I went and got some notes organized about love languages. If you don't know much about them, I know what mine are, but I don't really know too much about them. So I've got some notes to share around it. If you're here on this podcast, you probably have heard of love languages. You probably do know yours. You may have a deep understanding or a surface level. Maybe you use your knowledge of this in the way you communicate with others. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But I'm going to talk a little bit about love languages. And then I want to share some of my own thoughts about how you may actually be unconsciously using your love languages to, it's going to sound harsh, but to feed into or buy into your own bullshit, like all your own stories, right? To keep you trapped in those stories. Because that's sort of the basis of, when we talk about transformational coaching, we talk about transforming our life. I think that's a big piece of the work, is understanding, okay, what are my stories that I buy into all the time? What emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? Habits, addictions. That's the word I'm looking for. What emotions am I addicted to? And how do I use my love languages to keep myself locked into that addiction, locked into that habit, and locked into that cycle? So that the same sort of situations keep repeating for me. This might sound really weird because love languages are all about understanding yourself better so that you can be more empathetic and you can communicate your needs more. But this is with anything, right? Any modality or, psychological premise or neuroscience thing or spirituality, anything at all, we can grasp onto it, latch onto something. We can get very dogmatic about it, and we can create whole identities around these things, which, happens a lot with human design as well. So you have to be very mindful of that we're always using discernment. That's one thing. But also, sometimes we can use these really positive things that we learn about ourselves to keep ourselves stuck in the same patterns of behavior and stuck in the same habits. So, where is all of this coming from? Well, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about love languages, okay? Just in case you're not sure what they are, just in case you want a refresher, and also just for me, right? I love to learn as I go. I have a transpersonal profile in human design. So basically what that means is I find the people I'm here to serve and help, I find what they need to help them. And as I help them, I help myself. So a little bit about the concept of love languages. So it comes from Dr. Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, The Secret to Love That Lasts. I have not read that book. And a little summary, it suggests that people express and receive love in different ways. I think we all know that, right? Understanding your love language and your partners can improve communication and strengthen relationships. Here's a breakdown of the 5 love languages. So we've got words of affirmation, which is basically love being expressed through verbal encouragement, compliments, and words of appreciation. So being seen, right, and heard and valued, and actually having that acknowledged through what people say to you. So things like saying, I love you, verbal encouragement, you're doing a great job, I'm proud of you, heartfelt letters or text messages. So I think really that's like acknowledgement. Why this can matter to you. Words carry a lot of emotional weight for people with this love language. So positive affirmations make them feel valued and loved. That's words of affirmation. Second love language, which this is one of mine. So acts of service. Because I think from my memory, you have like the way you express love to others and the way you like to receive love. I could be making that up. But anyway, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. So acts of service. What it means is that love is shown by doing thoughtful things that help or support the other person. So some examples could be cooking a meal, cleaning the house, running errands, offering to help with a difficult task, fixing something that's broken without being asked. So basically, for me, in my understanding of this and the way, because this is one of my love languages, it's like someone just sees something that could help you, and so they just do it without you having to ask them. And that can be in any context. And also for me, it's being of service. So that's like how I like to express love, is being of service to others. Okay, so why this matters. Actions speak louder than words. So if your love language or someone you know love has this love language, actions speak louder than words. 100% for me, actions speak louder than words. So people who value acts of service, they feel loved when someone alleviates their burdens, or they might express love by relieving other people's burdens. Okay, I want to jump into the other side of this. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go through them first. Okay, you may already know where I'm gonna go with this. You may be picking up the tones already. The third love language is receiving gifts. So what it means, love is expressed through thoughtful gifts that show effort and care. So some examples are giving meaningful, personalized presents, surprising someone with a small token, like their favorite snack, celebrating special occasions with a symbolic gesture. And why this matters to someone who has this as a love language is, and I think people get this like kind of wrong with this sometimes, it's not about materialism. So it's not about just like getting things and having stuff. It's about the thought and the effort behind the gift. Okay, so a meaningful present demonstrates love and attentiveness. For me, like a present, I don't like knowing what someone's getting me. So I have some issues come up for me at birthdays and Christmas when people start messaging like, oh, what should we get you? Or what should we get the girls? Or what should we get Brent? And I'm like, that's to me the opposite of present. Like, if I know what you're getting me, like I may as well just get it myself sort of thing. Like, it's not about like just like I get something so that I don't have to spend the money to get it myself. It's like, for me, gift giving is, well, you've taken some time to think about me and what you know about me, and you went and got something that made you think of me, or made you think of, acts of service, a way, something that could alleviate some of my burdens, or just you saw something and it made you think of me. Like, for me, that's gift giving. So maybe I have a bit of this as well. I don't know. But anyway, that's like receiving gifts as a love language. That's sort of the vibe. It's not about the materialism. It's about the thought and effort behind the gift. And there's so many memes out there of like, particularly like from women's perspective of, those memes like your husband comes back from the shop and brings you a snack. It's like, oh, they brought me a snack. Like, that is kind of this love language. It's like, it's not about like that they spent money on you. It's that they thought of you when they were off doing something else. You were on their mind and they saw something and they're like, oh, she would really love this. Like, that person I'm thinking of would really like to receive this. And so they get it for you. Okay, number 4. This is my biggest love language: quality time. So what it means love is shown by giving undivided attention and spending meaningful time together. So some examples are having deep conversations without distractions. Okay, so for someone who has this love language, having a conversation with someone without phones, without TV, or without anything distracting them. If you have children and you have this love language, this can be difficult, right? To have that deep and meaningful conversation with your husband, wife, partner, the person you love, created life with, and your children are interrupting that, right? So, okay, we get the idea. So some other examples are like planning dates or adventures together, simply being present even in silence, like watching a movie or cooking together. Like, that one for me, I always felt really weird about this, but I am so chill with sitting in silence with people. It doesn't make me feel weird or uncomfortable at all. The fact that it doesn't makes me feel weird and uncomfortable with people, because I'm like, I feel like that's not a normal thing. But I'm so happy to just be in space with someone and not say anything. Like, I don't feel the need to constantly talk. I love to have a deep and meaningful conversation. But if we're not going deep and meaningful, I'm happy to sit there in silence. Like, I'd rather sit there in silence than just talk for the sake of filling the space. Okay, so some examples. So why it matters. For these individuals, time is the most valuable gift. And I mean, time is our most valuable gift. They feel loved when they are prioritized and genuinely engaged with. Okay, so the 5th one is physical touch. So what it means, love is expressed through physical affection and closeness. So some examples can be hugging, holding hands, cuddling, kissing, gentle touches, massages, just simply being physically present, especially during times of emotional need. Okay, so why this matters is that physical touch communicates warmth and reassurance. It's a primary way of feeling connected and secure in a relationship. So you're probably already making some connections between yourself, the people closest to you, maybe your husband, wife, partner, soulmate, whoever it is, whatever, however you communicate that, label that. And you're probably seeing some things between you, right? So I guess this is really like where the love languages can be really helpful, is understanding what your love languages are, to communicate better together, right? So, for example, like Brent, one of his love languages is definitely physical touch, right? So when we first had kids, that became really difficult to navigate. Well, not difficult to navigate. Well, yeah, difficult to navigate, because I would be completely touched out by the end of the day with babies, and I would be like, don't touch me, right? And if you aren't consciously aware of these things and you aren't versed in how to have these conversations, it's very easy for that to create tension, because, and this is where I'm going with the whole love language thing, that can then trigger people, wounds, generational cycles, It can trigger emotions. It can trigger fight, flight, freeze response. Like all of that stuff can be triggered just through this simple thing of love languages, right? Because if you don't understand that, and if they don't know what their love language is, they can take it personally. It can feel personal, right? Like, okay, I think you get the point there. So some things to remember about love languages. You have a primary and secondary love language. So most people have one dominant love language, but they might resonate with others as well, like I do. Quality time is definitely my dominant one, but I do resonate with others, like acts of service, and probably a little bit of receiving gifts. Everyone likes affirmations too, I guess. So problems though, miscommunication. Problems can arise when partners express love differently. For example, someone whose primary language is acts of service might not feel loved by just receiving gifts. Okay. In terms of personal growth, understanding your own and others' love languages helps foster empathy, deeper connections, and effective communication. So, really useful tool, can tell you a lot about yourself. Now, here's where I want to take this chat about love languages. Because yes, I think it's cool to know them. I think it can definitely help you in your communication and the way you give and receive love between you and your closest people. Here's how I sort of saw it play out in a conversation with a client though. We were working through a situation that was taking a lot of her energy and was creating a lot of dense emotions, right? And we are frequency, we are water, emotions are frequencies. So if we are giving a lot of time to those lower, dense frequencies, that stays within our frequency. It's not like, oh, well, I'm not angry right now. I was angry yesterday. I'm not angry now, so it's gone. No, right? The frequency of it is still there. So, we were working through this situation, and then she mentioned, because the situation was around not being recognized and noticed for the work that she had done. And she mentioned that, well, my love language is words of affirmation. Okay. So the way that she receives love, her predominant love language is around that words carry a lot of emotional weight. Positive affirmations can make them feel valued and loved. This client is also a projector, so there are all those wounds for a projector around not being seen, heard, and valued, not being recognized. And it got me thinking about love languages, because in this context, that love language was being used as a reason to remain in that lower emotional frequency, right? It's like, oh, well, yeah, but my love language is words of affirmation. So if I don't receive them, right? And so this got me thinking about it, got me thinking about myself. I'm like, okay, are love languages are helpful, but are they really more helpful in helping us understand the wounds we need to heal? Is that really what they're more helpful for? Are they really more helpful for helping us understand why certain situations trigger us? Are they really more helpful for helping us understand what generational cycles or ancestral wounds we might have, or trauma that we might have to work through, or stories that we have that are keeping us trapped? Because we then latch on to these love languages that we have as a reason or an excuse for why we feel that way. Now, everything is a choice. Every emotion we experience is a choice. The situation is not always in our control. What we are experiencing is not always our choice, but the choice in how we respond to it and how long we stay in that response is 100% up to us. And so what I noticed was this idea of this concept of love language, having the love language of words of affirmation, was a reason why she felt this way, and it was kind of a justification for it. And we worked through all of that. And then it got me thinking about my love languages and what clues were my love languages giving me about specific things, my own things, my own stories, my own bullshit that I need to continue working on. And mine are, I sort of already mentioned about the whole gift giving thing, but my sense of quality time. So I grew up, I'm the oldest of 6 children, split family. So my time was split also, right, between one family and the other, split family, mum and dad not together. That, like, totally fine. They were not together from when I was very young. So that was normal in my world. But I think that aspect of quality time became my love language because of those circumstances. Like everything, right? Everything is from our experiences. So for me, quality time is so important because I had to split my time between the people I loved the most, and then also having so many siblings, right? You're going to naturally have, no matter how much effort your parents put into sharing their time, if you have a big family, naturally there's going to be some jostling for more quality time, right? Everyone's going to be jostling to receive quality time, alone quality time. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting. It's just something to get curious about, right? Like, quality time is so important to me. There's maybe some reasons why it's so important to me. Where am I now using it maybe as a weapon against other people? Or where is it maybe creating triggers for me as well? Maybe between Brent and I, like if he is, I know something that happens for us is like we're all together and then maybe he'll be on his phone and I get annoyed about that, right? Do I have a conversation about that, or do I choose to like hold on to it because quality time is my love language and you should just know that and blah blah blah, right? Getting in the stories. You're not giving me time and attention, like, oh, you're mad at me. Like, just thinking about, if I know these are my love languages, why are they my love languages? What situations, experiences have created that as my predominant love language? And where am I maybe using that as a weapon against myself or against others? Or where am I allowing it to trigger me? Or where is it giving me some feedback to get curious about what's coming up for me that I need to heal here around this love language? I think that's all I really wanted to say. Obviously, then the how do we do that? Well, that's a much deeper, taking time, and there's so many different ways you can explore and heal these things. There's so many different ways. Like, everybody is going to have their own healing journey, their own path. Obviously, I work on this sort of stuff as a transformational coach. Human design gives us a lot of ways to do it. And depending on what it is for you, you may need more very specific, targeted, trauma-informed practice to help you and support you with this. It depends in what way it's manifesting for you, what kind of support you need, and you might need a mixture of all different things. But I just thought it was interesting that, yes, in that conversation with my client, that popped up, and I was like, that's a really, really interesting concept to explore around, like, love languages. I think are a positive thing, but is it possible that we are using them to justify a behavior that we probably actually need to change? We probably actually need to do the work around to change that behavior, instead of using our love language to justify it or to keep us stuck there or to allow ourselves to stay caught up in these lower emotional frequencies. And then I was thinking about, okay, where do I do that myself? I thought, I think this is something to share. Right? This is definitely something to share. So I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts about this in the comments. Does this resonate with you? Does it make sense to you? Is it something you've recognized yourself and you're like, yeah, I've had that realization too? Yeah, let me know. Let me know. I love to hear from you. I love to, I just freaked out that I hadn't recorded this whole episode then. Lol. Yeah, I love to hear from you. I'm all about collective community. I'm all about hearing from others. Like, I am not the go-to guru. You are your own guru, and we are all here to learn and evolve and expand together from each other and our own unique sources of wisdom and inspiration and information. So please share. Please share. All right. That's it from me today. Big love, everybody, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I really hope you received exactly what you needed from it. I absolutely loved sharing it with you. I'd also love to know what you thought, so please leave a comment or a review for me to respond to, or just come over and say hi on my socials. If you'd love to be a guest on the show, or maybe you have a question or a topic that you'd like me to talk about, then please send me a message. I absolutely love to connect. And really, this podcast is all about you, and your success. So tell me what you need to hear more of. If you really enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, or even better, send it to someone you know to spread the love. Let's get this authentic success movement happening. Okay, that's it from me. Big love. Now go out there and be amazing.